Okay, so I think we can start now. So, welcome to this webinar series. This is the last webinar of our Empowering Mission Soil Applicant series. Today, we will talk about designing impactful living labs and consortia. Thanks again for joining. Here, just a couple of relevant info. Rest assured that this session is recorded. The recording will be available online on the soil web pages and will be also published and on social medias. You have the chance to ask questions. You will find a box where to ask questions, so please do so also during the presentations, and we will try our best to answer your questions, and we will have also a dedicated Q&A session towards the end of this webinar. These slides are licensed, so just for your information. And so let's start with today's session. I am Lorenzo Abellarte. I represent here a soil startup. I will moderate this session. I'm from Siambari. We will have a presentation from Dolinda Cavallo from Enol, which will explain us the soil support to applicants. Then we will dive into Mission Soil Living Lab's key aspects with Nikolaos Toumasis. We will dive into what is Living Lab, key concept and approaches with our Agnieszka. And then we will explore insights and information about consortium building with Vidya. And then back to Dolinda Cavallo, which will explain soil activities to consider in the application process. Then we will end with the Q&A session and conclusion. So I will not lose time here, and I will start giving the floor to Dolinda Cavallo. So Dolinda, please jump in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining. So soil is a comprehensive support framework that aims to, first of all, support applicants in the application process to apply for the Living Labs topic under the Mission Soil. It is, of course, also supporting and aiming to enhance the impact of the funded Mission Soil Living Labs by providing tools, training, and make sure that their impact and scalability is improved. And we are also engaging with the wider soil community, so fostering connection with other stakeholders and providing resources to support the connection among the Mission Soil Living Labs and the other soil stakeholders. And we're fostering a collaborative ecosystem that in some way create connection with all the actors involved in soil health. Soil is a framework partnership agreement that runs from 2024 until 2030, and it is implemented through three main projects. The first one being Soil Startup that is organizing these webinars and started in 2024, and that it will follow up by Soil Step Up, and after that Soil Scale Up. And through the multidisciplinary partnership that soil can count on, we are supporting applicants and the Mission Soil Living Labs on three main topics. First one being the Living Labs concept and methods, then a soil technical team, and then all the transversal and cutting aspects. Soil has different targets. We are, first of all, targeting the Mission Soil Living Labs. So the living labs that are funded under the dedicated mission soil topics. Then we are supporting the applicants who are interested in applying in the future and in the current funding opportunity to set up a Mission Soil Living Lab. But we are also supporting and targeting all the other living labs and initiatives that are working in the context of soil and are not specifically funded under the mission soil. So the European living labs that are the living labs who are aligning with the criteria of the mission soil, but also the initiatives that are starting to work as a living lab in the soil context, but not yet they align with the mission soil criteria. And we're also involving all the soil community who is willing to collaborate or to interact with the mission, with the living labs, and are working towards soil health. So specifically on the for applicants, we are supporting the applicants interested in applying to the Living Labs topic under the soil mission, and that this year are the following ones. So the first one is the Living Labs for Soil Remediation and Brownfield Redevelopment. That is targeting the regeneration of brownfield sites through living labs and the co-creation of nature-based solutions for soil remediation and sustainable urban development. This is a single-stage submission, and you can see here the details, but the deadlines is the 30th of September 2025 at 5 Brussels time. And the second topic we are specifically supporting for this year is the Living Lab for Soil Health in continental, boreal, and alpine regions. This is a two-stage submission. Within this topic, it is expected to have the creation of to support 3 projects, and the deadlines for the first stage is the 4th of September 2025, while the second stage is the 18th of February 2026. You can have here the overview of the Mission Soil Living Labs that have already been funded through the previous topics during the first wave and also the second wave, and we will see in the presentation later from Ilvo, from Nvidia, some lessons learned that we have identified through the funded living labs and lighthouses. And here you can have an overview on what are the services that we offer to applicants who are willing to apply to this new funding opportunities. The first one is, of course, the webinar series that we are organizing, that under which this webinar is organized. We have already organized 2 webinar this June. The first one is a soil deal for Europe, the 2025 funding opportunities and application proposal guidance. And in this webinar, representatives of DG Agri and REA were available, and you can already see the recording on our website. Last week, we had the second webinar on aligning 2025 Living Labs proposal with mission objectives and the soil monitoring law. Again, you can access the recording on our website. And then the third one is this webinar that we are organizing today, that will focus on the impact, how to design impactful living labs and the consortia. We also offer a dedicated help desk to support applicants to in their application process, and you can access the help desk on the Soil Hub, and you will receive also the link on the chat. And also there is a dedicated FAQ with some common questions that can help you develop your proposal. We have a list of mentors who can help you develop your proposal, your individual proposals, even in your national language, and you can access this the mentors of your country through our website and through the QR code that you see here. And also we have set up a matchmaking platform. This is a platform that allows you to find proposals, identifying new partners, and also share what are your expertise so that others can contact you and to join their proposals. And you can register through the link that you will receive also in the chat. We are organizing also thematic events. These are hybrid events on different topics, but where we explain the funding opportunity to set up Mission Soil Living Labs, and also participants have the possibility to attend pitching sessions, so where also networking opportunities are possible. The next engagement event will be organized in September. And you can access this information on the website, but you can also see the recording of the other engagement events that were organized this June. And to conclude, we are also providing several resources that can help you develop your proposals as guidelines, recommendations, templates, and also fact sheets that summarize the key aspects of the living labs across the land use type, and also the funding opportunities details. And with this, I thank you for the attention, and I wish you a very interesting webinar.
Thank you so much, Dorinda. Thank you. Very relevant, the offer that Soil is giving to applicants. So please join us and follow us through social media as well as our web platforms. So I will now give the floor to our dear Nikolaos Toumasis, which will dive us into Mission Soil Living Labs and key aspects. So the floor is yours, Nikolaos. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Lorenzo. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nikolaos Toumasis, one of the partners in the Soil Startup project. And as a soil scientist, I'm working at Cranfield University in the UK. And our job is to help and advise groups putting together consortia for the Horizon Europe and for Soil Living Labs calls. Today, I will guide you through the key aspects of Living Labs in the context of the EU's Mission Soil Initiative. And we will explore together how these labs operate, their importance, and their role in transforming soil health innovation. Today, we'll cover also key concepts such as multi-actor approach and co-creation methods with experienced living labs, sharing real-world examples to illustrate effective setup and alignment with Mission Soil goals. So next slide, please. Yeah, what is a living lab? So living labs are open innovation ecosystems that are deeply user-centered. They function in a real-life environment like cities, farms, or industrial areas, and are focused on co-creating, testing, and validating new solutions with direct stakeholder involvement. A key feature is the reliance on the quadruple helix model with academia, industry, government, and society working together. This fosters sustainable inclusive innovation rooted in actual user needs. In real-life settings, their role is to improve their effectiveness for soil health and accelerate adoption. Next slide, please. What do living labs work on? Living labs span a broad range of sectors, from smart cities and energy to agriculture, culture, and policy development. In the context of soil health, they aim to develop and scale practices that address both environmental challenges and societal needs. This diversity demonstrates the adaptability of the living lab model across disciplines and tissues. Next slide, please. Here we refine the definition specifically for soil health living labs. These are not just research sites, they are transdisciplinary ecosystems that engage farmers, scientists, policymakers, and communities. And also they are designed to operate in specific places and address practical soil challenges, accelerating the uptake of effective science-based solutions. The goal is continuous learning, innovation, and impact. Next slide, please. So why do we need living labs? Because we face what are known as wicked problems, like complex interdependent issues like climate change and soil degradation. These cannot be solved in isolation, and living labs provide a collaborative space where stakeholders come together to co-create solutions, to test them in real life conditions and scale what works. They turn research into practice faster and more effectively. Also, living labs provide, sorry, the previous one I didn't finish. Living Labs provides a trusted real work setting where diverse actors can safely test, validate, and adapt solutions in context, building confidence and relevance, and also bridge the gap to adoption. Because living labs help translate research into practice, de-risk innovation, and enable the long-term sustainability and wider uptake solutions. Next slide, please. Let's break down now the key components. A soil health living lab typically includes an experimental site, a lighthouse, which acts as a hub of excellence and demonstration, and a network of participants across sectors. This integrated setup ensures that innovations are not only tested, but also visible, replicable, and scalable. Next slide, please. So our living labs operate across different scales and levels of engagement. At the regional level, labs coordinate experiments and partnerships. On a local scale, individual sites focus on co-creating knowledge and innovations. And also lighthouses serve as demonstration sites where successful methods are tested and showcased. Moreover, these different layers help us assess and improve soil health strategies at multiple levels. And in soil health research, we work with various land use types, ranging from agricultural lands and natural ecosystems to urban and industrial areas. And each setting presents unique challenges and opportunities. For example, we explore regenerative farming techniques for agriculture. We test soil restoration methods in forests and examine solutions for soil sealing and pollution in urban areas, as well as in natural and semi-natural land use type, following some restoration approaches such as wetland restoration, erosion control, and also biodiversity conservation. Next slide, please. Soil health living labs are deployed in diverse environments, and farmers collaborate with researchers to improve soil health in agricultural fields. And urban labs address soil contamination and biodiversity in parks and green infrastructure. And forest-based labs focus on erosion control and carbon sequestration, while industrial and brownfield sites explore remediation techniques for degraded soils. Also, in agriculture, organic and mineral soils, specific farming system approaches. Also, we have some natural soils with specific conservation and restoration approaches. And in terms of urban sector, we have multi-use soil, some soil threats also, and we're working on sustainable urban planning. Next slide, please. Living labs operate across diverse land use types in agriculture, and they might test biochar or regenerative practices. In urban spaces, they focus on soil contamination or green infrastructure. Forest ecosystems also might see work on erosion or biodiversity, while industrial sites test soil remediation strategies. And this real-world diversity strengthens our understanding more and capacity to improve soil health across Europe generally. With this webinar today, we aim to deepen strengthening and understanding of living lab principles and offer also practical advice on building strong project consortia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nikolaos. Thank you, Nikolaos. Very interesting. And these last words gives us also the link to give the floor to our dear Agnieszka, which will talk about what is a living lab regarding key concepts and approaches. So Agnieszka, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello. As you know, my name is Agnieszka Włodarczyk-Gębik. I know it's quite complex, so you can also call me Aga. I'm from Kraków Technology Park. That is the organization supporting business in the south of Poland. But for your information, also Kraków was the previous capital of Poland. But what is really, really important right now, it is one of the Central Europe leading technology region with a strong academic base, a vibrant startup ecosystem, and also of the presence of global tech companies that are supported by one of our instruments that is Polish investment zone, previously called a special economic zone. The region also fostered the innovation through initiatives like Kraków Technology Park, Life Science Cluster. We've got a great ecosystem of accelerated programs and cooperate very closely with the academia. One of our key actors is co-creating and implementing the regional innovation strategy and promoting smart specialization and user-driven innovation approaches in the region. One of the key highlighting events in our history was joining European Network of Living Lab. It was in 2015 when we got certification and became one of the leading certified living labs in Poland. And then in 2019, we became the European Digital Innovation Hub. As you can imagine, we are one-stop shop for businesses operating in the south of Poland in the aspect of technology, different technologies, emerging technologies in the focus on smart city, Industry 4.0, game dev. Okay, what is our aim? Our aim is to support the development of innovative businesses, enhance regional economic growth, and foster collaboration between science and industry in the Małopolska region. As you can see in our ecosystem are closely 600 different varied investors representing different scope of businesses, different sectors, and our work is to support them in their growth, starting from the startups that enter technology park with detailed and tailored for their needs, special incubation and acceleration programs, but also we've got the big companies representing also traditional sectors. So we are driving regional growth, supporting to boost Małopolska economy by attracting foreign, but also domestic investment, creating quality jobs and empowering local entrepreneurs, promoting a knowledge-based economy, managing, as I already mentioned, special economic zone and Polish investment zone by providing different incentives, building a startup-friendly ecosystem, and supporting our legislation with EU acts. In 2015, after 2 years of being taught and mentored by our colleagues from European Network of Living Labs, we created the Krakow Living Lab that became a platform for testing products and services in the conditions in which they are really used in life. We signed the agreement with City of Krakow that in which they agreed to provide the real-life platforms for testing the products and services generated by the companies in our ecosystem in the real environment. As you can see, the areas of our work is quite wide, from AI and emerging technologies, circular economy, culture and creativity. We are one of the leading organizers of Digital Dragon conference that is dedicated to game dev development, environmental climate change issues, industries and manufacturing that are supported by European Digital Innovation Hub run by our colleagues in our team, mobility, smart cities and region, SMEs, startups, social innovation and inclusion, zero pollution and decarbonization. Soil, it's not our main target. We are not the Soil Living Lab. We are traditional living lab, but in our ecosystem, there are some companies that are providing services and technologies that support soil living labs. And also I will present them later on. As Rome wasn't built in a day, none of the living labs can be built in a day, nor was Krakow Living Lab. Because creating a resilient, balanced and user-centered living lab really takes time and requires commitment and collaboration. And what I want to share with you today is our history, our journey and story. So in 2013, as I already mentioned, we just met colleagues from European Network of Living Labs. And from that days, in fact, we introduced Living Lab methodology into DNA of our organization, supporting us to provide the better tailored services to our clients, which are startups, mature companies, which is the administration, also the 3 main universities. So what motivated us? Definitely the co-creation with user and communities. So developing the products that really needs the expectations of the clients, the expectations of the region. If we mean, for example, the policy, regional acts that we are also involved in co-creating using the Living Lab methodology. Definitely what motivated us was testing the products and services in the real world conditions, to validate them in actual urban and regional contexts in the factories, ensuring they are practical, scalable and impactful. Fostering cross-sectoral collaboration, which is the main highlight of Living Lab methodology, by joining the forces and giving the space for public administration, for academia, businesses, and civil society who work together on shared challenges, breaking down silos and building the trust. Supporting evidence-based policymaking. In next slide, I will present you one of the projects we concentrated on and supported our regional authorities to develop new act, new air quality plan for Małopolska region. Harnessing digital transformation for the public good. I will also present you the sample that we developed under one of the initiatives that provided qualitative but also quantitative data for our regional authorities to develop tailored instruments to meet companies' needs. And last but not least, stimulating economic development and competitiveness to encourage entrepreneurship, attract investment. What we started was creating our value proposition. So as you can see, and it is really the very important thing you should start your journey, is to think and rethink and ask yourself many times the question, what is your value proposition? Who are you targeting? What are you offering? What are you striving to solve? And in our case, the value proposition became very simple. We want to help startups and SMEs to test their products and services with real users and real life environment before introducing those products and services to the market. Our journey started with creating the strategy, setting the operation, building the ecosystem of different stakeholders operating together, open and ready to support each other. We created the users ecosystem ready to be involved in testing, ready to take part in the iteration we organize and conducted. We concentrated on impact and value, and then taking all the highlights and taking all the recommendation, creating the scale-up activities under acceleration program. One of the main factors on our journey was also building and extending the ecosystem. As the quite mature organization with 25 years being very active in Poland and also abroad, our stakeholder map was quite intensive and rich. But each time, what is really important here, we ask ourselves the questions, are they really the right people to be involved in our initiative? Are they really the most key people to take part in our training sessions, moderate sessions? So as you can see, it's a long and never-ending process, because all the time we are asking ourselves the questions, who should we involve, who should be informed, who should be responsible for the process, who should we consult, who should be informed. And within the journey we undertake on everyday basis, we try to identify those right people to bring them at the very early stage of our activities. As I already said, it's a long and never-ending process. So here you can see some example of one of our stakeholder map exercise we undertook in the project. But this map is under verification, and each time is tailored to meet the real needs of each project and each initiative. Shaping Kraków Living Lab, what we did internally, we created a dedicated team. We created the strategy, we created the values, but what is the most important fact is already was mentioned by me, it's the journey. So we are not afraid of taking experimentation, but also from the failure, we take some notes, we take some recommendation, as in the Living Lab methodology process, the iteration leads us to better results. So from our failure, we learn and then repeat the process. But also on our journey, we got a great support from our colleague from European Network of Living Labs. Many tools and methods were already presented by Dolinda. There is a special hub dedicated to soil living labs. There are dedicated mentors, experts on the way, but also what you can, if you want to deep dive into what is the living lab, there are other different tools like virtual learning lab that you've got some basic information, and there is the academy. But what we also have within our ecosystem, there are dedicated working groups which are focused on a very, very specific sectors, and agriculture, agri-food, RERA is one of them. But we also got the working group that is focused on harmonization activities, on climate change. So don't be afraid. During all the process, you will get the right people to support you in the right moment you need the support. And challenges on our way, as I said, it is a process. It's not an easy process. You have to adjust it to the local needs, to also different challenges that are inside your own organization. But what is the most important it is to have the right people with right responsibilities and roles in your organization. So you should think to choose the right people and place them and give them the right position. In some projects, we miss our target group, and I will tell you later on what was it. Structure with limited cross-department collaboration. We had to work together how to join our forces internally in Kraków Technology Park to take the best of the process. Lack of awareness, it was what we met when working with policymakers, because when we started in 2013, the Living Lab methodology wasn't very much popular in Poland, and it was really hard to bring attention of policymakers and show them the benefits, the potential benefits they can face thanks to using the Living Lab methodology for co-creating the policies, for example. Communicating complex concepts also was our challenge, demonstrating tangible results, measuring impact effectively, and presenting benefits to technology receivers. Everything came later on, and what is also worth mentioning here, that when working with technology receivers, with big companies, we face the slow decision-making process, difficulty scaling pilots, complex procurement, and legal processes. Our first case is, I was also asked to share with you, it is our micropark, pocket park. It was our first product that we tested using Living Lab methodology. What I would like to emphasize that this micropark was created by one of the startups, and we used the Living Lab methodology for co-creation, for user-centered design, defining the features with local residents, ensuring the space responds the community needs and preferences. We tested it, as you can see, in live conditions. So it was in one of the city squares in Kraków located, but also we tested it during the World Youth Days, the meeting with the Pope. So you can imagine how many pilgrims we already had it. The micropark went through the iterative prototyping, so the modular settings, green elements, everything was tested and adjusted based on direct user feedback and behavioral observations. multi-stakeholder collaboration. We involve different varied representatives of non-governmental organizations, from local businesses, designers, city authorities, and also researchers enjoy decision-making and evaluation. We provided the evidence-based evaluation, collecting qualitative and quantitative data to collect and verify the assets we achieve. We focus on inclusivity and accessibility of this micropark. So it was for seniors, for children, but also was used by people with different disabilities. And basing on that, first, our product tasted with Living Lab methodology. We supported the development of such pocket parks in other cities of Małopolska. These are samples of other our activities. One in the middle is about the platform for monitoring industrial pollution. The left side is open for the inhabitants of one of the cities near Kraków with high problem of industrial pollution, and the right side is for industry itself. It was closed, so to access they had to use the password, and all the sensitive data coming from alerts, from reports on pollution were hidden over there. Okay, in the previous slides, what also is important as you structure your Living Lab activities, soil Living Lab activities, is to take into consideration the legislation process. So it is how we also work with administration to provide some recommendation and highlights to develop ways to introduce innovative services and products to public procurement. This is the project I would like to stop for a while. It is the co-creation of new air protection program for Małopolska region with involving inhabitants of Małopolska region and businesses. And it was for the first time so open and widely involving different varied stakeholders process in Poland. And it became one of the best samples. And the reason I'm stopping for a while here is that when I said to you that wrong people in the wrong moment involved and not reaching the targeted group, it is that what we wanted to do is to get the really high involvement of different inhabitants and varied group of stakeholders being involved in co-creation process. And what happened? We organized the meetings in our venue. And what we didn't reach the real inhabitants of Małopolska region. That is why we decided to go to cities and to villages in the afternoon to speak to them, to really know what the problem is about. Why, if there are so many great instruments supporting the changing of the from coal to electricity and to gas, why those financial instruments are not used for thermomodernization or for different activities that will support the banning and moving from the coal to gas or to electricity. Okay, Here they are two more examples from the things that were already taken by us. So as you could see, one of our startup was involved in helping farmers worldwide to take care of their crops and produce high quality food. They use pure technology with a unique combination of inorganic molecules that positively impacted various important physiological processes in plants. And what is really important, this startup provided technology to a well-known and big company, food producer. Another example is Vidmo, is a deep tech startup offering subsurface tomography based on spectroscopy ground penetrating radar, and also they supported the construction sector in upgrading their services. Another sample is about the Bilberry startup that has created the most effective plant growth solution based on knowledge from optoelectronic biotechnology and IT. And the solution was also introduced in one of the companies, and with support of this dimmable light spectrum, the plants were improved and the crops were improved. And last but not least, my slide is about the policy, public engagement and challenges. As you could see during the Living Lab activities undertaking, there are different challenges on the way. But I would say that the way you address the challenges and the people you ask for support, and not being afraid of taking the iteration process again is the key answer to the success. With public engagement, definitely each time you have to verify who is your key supporter, and what role can you assign to those people on the way you meet. And policy, addressing challenges at the right moment and highlighting their relevance, inviting people at the very early stage of Living Lab journey. Everything leads to bringing different perspectives, different collaboration, different ways of working. And last but not least, in our case, it is the most important factor, but it is about bringing the technology into soil Living Labs activities.
Thank you so much, Agnieszka. Thank you so much, Agnieszka, for this relevant presentation. It is indeed quite interesting to know about a practical example of existing Living Labs. So thank you so much. I will now give the floor to another very key component, which is consortium building. So I leave the floor to Vidya. Please jump in. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Lorenzo. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Vidya, and I am a researcher at Ilvo in Belgium. I'm part of the soil team where we support the work on monitoring and evaluation of the mission soil living labs. I serve as the task lead in this area, and today I will be presenting some of the key findings from our analysis of the first wave of funded projects, which may help guide you in designing your own consortia. Yeah. This slide gives you a quick overview of what I will cover in this presentation. First, I will briefly explain the background of the analysis, which is based on the 25 mission soil living labs selected in the first call. Then I will walk you through some trends and observations from the first wave, particularly around how consortia were composed, how diverse partnerships were structured, how leadership and collaboration were handled, and so on. And finally, I will outline some considerations for applicants, not as formal recommendations, but as points that may help guide thinking when designing or strengthening your consortium. As noted in the disclaimer, these are the early observations based on our analysis of existing projects, and they are meant to support learning and reflection, not to prescribe any one model. Yeah. Before we go into the consortium composition, I would like to give you a quick overview of how living labs typically fit into the Mission Soil project. Each project is built around a project consortium, a group of partners that jointly manage the work, support the coordination, and ensure learning across all the living labs involved. Within that structure, multiple living labs are included, each focusing on specific regional challenges or contexts. So based on the first wave of the funded projects, we observed that most consortia included between 4 to 6 living labs. This isn't a requirement, but simply a pattern we have seen, and it gives a rough sense of scale for you. And each living lab is expected to actively engage local stakeholders such as farmers, advisors, public authorities or NGOs and so on, to ensure the work is co-created and grounded in real needs. And here you can see the overview of the 5 winning projects funded under 2023 Mission Soil Initiative. These projects respond to 2 distinct topics. The first focuses on co-creating soil health solutions through living labs, and the second on carbon farming via living labs. And together, these 5 projects account for total 25 living labs. And these 25 Mission Soil living labs form the basis of the analysis I'm presenting today. So all the observations, trends we are going to discuss come from this first wave of funded projects. So you will also see here the number of living labs per project, so which ranges from 4 to 6. And again, I would like to tell you that it is not a fixed requirement, but this is what we observed across the successful consortia. And now with that overview of the 5 funded projects in place, now let's take a look at how these consortia are structured, starting with the variation in their size. As you can see this in the pie chart, there is no single model. Nearly 90% of the consortia fall into 2 categories. One is small groups, which comprised of 2 to 4 partners, and medium-sized groups, which comprises of 5 to 9 partners. Only a few consortia include more than 10 partners, which is up to 18, what we are calling here the large category. The takeaway here is that there is no correct size. What matters most is that the consortium is designed to match the goals, context, and the capacity of your living labs. A small focused group can work very well if it brings the right expertise and commitments, and a large, more diverse group may be needed for a more complex or multi-regional settings. And this slide here shows the type of partners involved in the Mission Soil Living Labs funded through the first call. The data is based on the public information available through CODIS and reflects the overall composition of the partners across the living labs. And here you can see private for-profit entities account for the largest share, which is around 32%. Followed by the higher or secondary education establishment and a diverse other category. Other category means which includes NGOs and similar organizations. And research organization and public bodies are also present, but in slightly smaller proportions. So while this chart shows the aggregate share of different partner types, we also looked at how these actors come together in different consortium models. So some consortia are strongly industry driven, where the private for-profit entities form the core of the team, and some consortia are research-oriented with significant community and other stakeholder involvement are there. And some consortia are mixed multi-actor composition. So this diversity reflects the flexible nature of the living lab design. So what matters most is that the mix of partner support very effective for co-creation or regional relevance or stakeholder engagement. Yeah. Here in this slide, you can see the stakeholder groups involved across the mission soil living labs. It is important to note that this analysis includes both formal project consortium as well as the other stakeholders actively involved in the living lab activities. So we will explore this distinction a bit more in the coming slides. And you can see on the left side, we see a group that appear most frequently, which includes farmers, research institutions, farming associations, local authorities, and so on. So these are the common actors in many living labs, reflecting both scientific involvement and strong links to local agricultural systems. And other frequently involved groups include advisors, agri-food companies, input suppliers, and so on, which highlight the practical and operational um, dimensions of many living labs. On the right, you can see less frequently engaged stakeholders. So these are schools, tourism organization, ministries, youth groups, and these may be involved in some specialized context. So this together gives us a snapshot of the diversity of actors who have been part of the Living Lab activities so far. And this gives us a basis on how different stakeholders are mobilized in Living Labs or in the projects. Yeah. So this chart shows how the main stakeholder groups across 25 mission soil living labs map onto a quadruple helix. As you can see, all 4 helix groups are represented. The industry makes up the largest share, so overall accounting for nearly 40%. And user groups such as the farmers, advisors, or associations are also well represented. Academia, government actors contribute significantly through with some variations across the projects. And there is also a small portion of other stakeholders which don't fit neatly into these 4 helix categories. Yeah. So now we have seen that the mission soil living labs involve wide range of actors across the sectors. But importantly, many of these stakeholders are not formal project partners. So they are engaged through living lab activities themselves. So this visual here compares 2 real examples of living labs from the first wave. On the left, we see a living lab with limited engagement. So there are 7 funded partners. And essentially the same 7 actors are involved in the implementation, meaning that the activity stays more or less within the formal consortium. So on the right, we see a broad engagement model. So it starts with a core group, but goes on to engage over 30 additional stakeholders. So this highlights the importance of thinking beyond who is formally part of the project or living lab. So considering how you bring others into the process to ensure the local relevance or legitimacy and co-creation. Now let's move on to another important part: who leads or who takes responsibility for coordinating the living lab and holding the structure together. So this chart shows the distribution of coordination entities across mission soil living labs. As we can see, half of the mission soil living labs are coordinated by higher or secondary education institutions. And as you can see here, another 15% by research organization. So makes almost 2/3 of or the coordinating entities. And then the 23% by other category, which includes the non-traditional stakeholders such as NGOs. Then the private for profit, you can see here, lead in only about 12%. You should also note that the private for profit entities are the major types of partners in these living labs. And public bodies are notably absent as coordinators. So this concentration of coordination within academia suggests strong scientific leadership, which is very valuable, but it may also indicate an opportunity. So the key takeaway is that while academic leadership is common, so there is also room to consider broader coordination models that reflect the diversity of actors in the ecosystem. Now let's move on to the budget distribution across the consortia. This slide illustrates 3 general approaches to budget distribution seen across the 25 mission soil living labs. On the left, we have a concentrated model, typically involving fewer partners who receive a large budget share. And this setup often supports intensive stakeholder engagement. And on the far right, you can see that a distributed model, which reflects a larger consortia with many partners and a lower budget per partner. So these structures often aim for broader stakeholder coverage. So in between is the intermediate model, where the budget and responsibilities are more evenly spread across the moderately sized group. So across all models, we observe that the budget per partner range from 50K to over 1.5 million euros. So the key message is that there is no ideal distribution. But when you design a consortium, it is important to think not only about how many partners you need, but also how you will resource them to deliver their part effectively. So to wrap up, here are some of the key takeaways from our analysis of the first wave of Mission Soil Living Labs. We saw that the consortia vary in size, from small focused teams to large network, and their success depend on multi-sectoral collaboration, which often involve in a broad ecosystem of partners and stakeholders. So, and living labs have impact well beyond the former consortium through engagement with local actors. And each consortium is designed to fit its local context, and we see diversity in leadership, most currently led by the universities or research organizations. And finally, the budget models also vary. What matters most is that aligning funding with roles and responsibilities of partners. So together, these takeaways highlight that there is no one size fits model. So there are clear patterns and lessons from the first wave that can help or inspire your own design. So this brings me to the end of the presentation. So I hope these insights into the first wave of Mission Soil Living Labs have given you a better understanding um, in different ways of consortia can be structured. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Vidya. It was indeed very relevant also to give participants some insights and orientation on what is happening regarding consortia and their composition. Very nice. Thank you so much. I will give the floor now back to Dolinda, which will talk about key activities of soil to consider. Please, Dolinda.
Thank you so much. And yes, indeed, my last presentation will focus on the activities that you should consider to collaborate with soil while you write your application, because as it is mentioned here in this slide, in the description of the 2 topics to set up Mission Soil Living Labs that we presented before, it is explicitly mentioned that the collaboration with soil should be planned, should be expected. So what specifically you should plan in your application process to work with us. We have, let's say, delved into this details in the first webinar that we have already organized in the beginning of June with the participation of representatives of DG Agri and REA. But here I will provide you again a little summary of what are these key activities. So coming back to the main 6 areas where we provide support to the Mission Soil Living Labs. So coordination and support, training and capacity building, engagement and promotion, monitoring and evaluation, knowledge sharing and networking, and the Soil Hub. We will see per each area what are the activities that you should consider. So considering coordination and support, we aim to coordinate the whole community of the Mission Soil Living Labs that will be and are funded through the specific funding opportunities that now are 45 with the first and the second wave, but it will become hopefully by the end of the mission more than 100. And so we need to gather data and gather in some way the description of the living labs, their aim, and so understand better what all the living labs are working on. And through this, we need to make sure that the living labs dedicate some time in sharing with us this data, so that we can then give them visibility, allow them to have a space on the Soil Hub, and so we do this through a service that we share at the beginning of their project. And so for this, it's important that some time is already planned in your application to share with us this data. We offer training and capacity building activities to the living labs, both online and in presence. So online, we offer around 6 training where ideally at least one person per living lab is able to attend. But also we organize each year a bootcamp training. This is an in-presence event that we organize usually around September or beginning of October. And this training is, for attending this training, it is suggested that the living labs can set aside some travel budget and personal budget to actually travel and join this training. We organize several activities for knowledge sharing and networking. So we, for the online activities, we organize soil working groups on several topics. We also invite the living labs to attend the events that we organize. So again, to give them visibility and let's say foster also their connection with other stakeholders. And we will also ask the funded living labs to share their best practices once they will be available. So to make sure that the participation is assured in these activities, it is suggested that some time is dedicated to attend these activities. But also we organize some in-presence activities as the annual engagement event. This event is organized each year alongside the European Mission Soil Week. We also support the living labs if they are interested in organize field visits, and they can either host the field visit or travel and visit other living labs. And but also we can support the living labs in organized knowledge exchange alongside other key events in the context of the soil mission. And so for all these activities, if the living labs are interested to to organize the field visit or all the other activities, it is important that some budget is set aside to travel and to actually attend these events. Then we are monitoring the living labs to support their growth. So these specific activities are meant to support the and ensure the sustainability of the living lab. And we invite each year the funded living labs to respond to a monitoring and evaluation survey that is meant to identify what are the, let's say, more weak areas of the living labs, and so provide them training and support to fill the gap of these maybe weaker areas of their living lab management or soil management. And so this is a mandatory activities that we are asked to do, and the results of this monitoring and evaluation surveys are then summarized in a report that we have to share with the mission secretariat and with the commission. And so it is important that the living labs already set some time to respond to this survey, because it is important for them to know what they should work on, and also for the commission to know how the community of living lab is growing. And also we have set up a soil hub. So this is a platform that is meant to bring together the Mission Soil Living Labs, but also all the other stakeholders working on soil. And so this facilitates the connection among all the stakeholders. And it is important that the Living Labs keep their profile that we create on the Soil Hub, and they keep the profile updated. So some time should be for sure dedicated to this. But also to engage with in the community area of the Soil Hub. And so the summary of all these activities are shared in these slides, and you will also find it in the slides that you will receive. You will be able to download. Okay, so we have some time for the questions. So maybe I will ask my colleague Anne-Sophie to take back the remote control so I can access the Q&A box. And so we have received some questions. We have already answered to some of them by writing, but maybe some questions can also be, let's say, underlined live, or we can answer the ones we didn't answer yet live. So one question was if you can combine two land use type in the same proposal. For example, a living lab working both on agriculture and urban spaces. Yes, it's possible because in some cases in the proposals, let's say the living labs that you gather in the same proposal can work on different land use type, but it is important that while you identify the living labs that you want to bring on board in your project application, you make sure to identify living labs who have common challenges or common soil conditions. So not, let's say, it should be underlined what are the common issues that the living labs face and why you bring them on in the same proposals, not just randomly, but because they're facing either similar soil conditions or similar challenges. So this is something that we have learned in analyzing let's say, and exchanging also with the Commission on the previous proposal. So it is a very important thing that you should keep in mind while you identifying the living labs. Also, I think there was another question where maybe Agnieszka can step in with her experience as a living lab already running since quite some time, I would say. And the question was how to make sure that all the voices are heard in co-creation processes within the living lab. So maybe I leave the word to Agnieszka to respond to this based on your experience.
Definitely, you starting from the stakeholder map, when you identify the relevant stakeholders, you can set the process very openly by sharing the information and inviting them to share their opinions, collecting them, and presenting what you collect in the very open manner. I would say that's what we did when we supported the regional authority in this elaboration and consultation of policy document through the co-design and co-creation. This was the regional legislative document, very important because it puts some restriction not only to businesses but also to citizens regarding the air quality measures that had to be adopted, and they were very, very, very strict. I could tell you a long story, but definitely what we did, we organized, I think, 5 sets of open consultation and co-creation meetings, and invite, and very openly public this information via different channels. Also touching the local, very local newspapers, using the very local administration, using the climate associations, using schools, using senior clubs. So everywhere we use the network of our partners to provide the information and to invite everybody who wanted to share their voice and who wanted to provide any comment and any feedback to share it. We undertook a service, we collected written feedback. There was the post box in the local, very local, I would say, offices, but also contacted the academia, students and researchers. We also contacted business, and it was the most easy stuff by us because we on every day we work with businesses, but also use different channels. So we use the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Chamber of Farmers, Chambers of, but also activists whose voice also was very, very important. We've got some lobbyists during our meeting. So I would say do not concentrate on one source of communication on one channel. Really do a very, very open brainstorming session inside within your own team, small team, ask other colleagues for some recommendation. And in our case, we also had some, I would say, very negative opinions, but we didn't delete any message like that. We also let such voices be heard. And then in the sum up, we just concluded also those negative feedbacks.
Thank you, Agnieszka.
I hope I answered, but from the very, very practical experience.
I think this is very valuable, above all, to engage also with, let's say, stakeholders that maybe do not, from where you don't get support immediately, to get a discussion and to also to question yourself, right? And to make sure that you're considering all the points, and you will maybe also find a way to collaborate. So thank you for sharing this. I think this is very valuable. I also saw that there are some questions about finding partners that are maybe interested in, let's say, in other topics, or how to engage with other stakeholders. So Soil specifically is supporting applicants who are interested in applying in the two topics that I mentioned before. So the Living Labs topic, to set up Mission Soil Living Labs, but still the Soil Hub and the matchmaking platform that I mentioned before are platforms that are, let's say, that are meant to create connections with all the stakeholders working in the soil topic and in the Living Labs topic. So you are more than welcome to still sign up and interact with the other stakeholders, because you can still you could still find valuable collaboration, even though we are not specifically providing material on other topics. And also, there was another question about where to find material that can help you, let's say, design all the phases on how to set up Living Labs. We have participated in the Nashoons project that I think many of you already know. That was the project that was supporting applicants in set up Mission Soil Living Labs in the first and 2 years, so the last year and the previous year. And within this project, we have created and developed some webinars who are entering into the details on how to set up Living Labs, and also how to create a consortia, and how to engage stakeholders, and also about the governance models and the business models, because there were also questions on how to better choose the coordinator. And so we are going to share with you the link on where you can access these webinars, and we invite you to revise all the webinars that are tackling these topics. But in case you have other additional questions, we remain available to respond to your questions with the help desk. And finally, there was also a question on how many sites the Living Labs should consider, so the number of sites. According to the mission implementation plan, each Mission Soil Living Labs should, let's say, is expected to have between 10 and 20 sites, even though a different number can be accepted if it is justified. And again, I would like to underline that let's say, the identification of the Living Labs and the sites should be well, let's say, justified. And so take in consideration what is the reason why you involve this Living Lab and not the other. Think about the common challenges and the common soil condition to be able to justify the reason of involving these specific stakeholders or these specific Living Labs. And with this, I think we need to go to the conclusion, but we will address the last questions by in a written form, or we will come back to you if we don't have the time to conclude this Q&A session. So Lorenzo, I leave the word to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dolinda. Very, very nice questions, I might say. I hope they are correctly answered, and you are satisfied, or otherwise reach us. We have a dedicated help desk, as stated. So let's move to conclusions. I kindly ask Anne-Sophie to please give me the control of the slides. So thank you so much. Regarding conclusions, first of all, remember to connect to our Soil Hub. Here you have the chance to connect with other potential applicants, to connect with mentors, and to get in touch with the relevant resources you might need for your application. As I told you here, you can meet all the Soil Hub users, and it is relevant to give you all this info, because you can match here through the dedicated platform. Be assured that the webinars have been recorded, will be online on our dedicated event pages. I already shared the links with somebody who asked us the correct link. You will just go into Soil EU, and you will find the event page, and you will find also the dedicated section to access recordings. If you need some more resources, here you can find some other tools from previous projects, which is from Nashun's, where you can also access capacity building webinars, thematic events, insights, as well as some relevant fact sheets. Before concluding, please provide us your feedback. The link has been already shared in the chat. Provide us the feedback, because this allows us to improve the future applicant services and the soil services in the future. So I thank you. I thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to all participants who joined, and I wish you all the best and a nice continuation. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.